The Congregation of the Missionary Oblates of Mary Immaculate is a religious group of brothers and priests which was founded in France by a young French priest called Eugene Charles de Masnod. Eugene Charles de Masnod was born in the year 1782, and as a young boy, he experienced what living life from a well-to-do family was. But following the French Revolution, he went to Italy as an exile, where he also experienced life as a young man, as a boy who had nothing, who struggled with his father. And so it was at the heart of this young boy when he was growing, after having experienced what it means to live in abundance and at the same time experience the other side of poverty. He so much wanted to help the poor as a young man. And so St. Eugene de Masnod in France, he started spiritual direction with a Jesuit priest called Father John Bartolo, who assisted this young boy to come to the realization of his call. And so in 1809, St. Eugene de Masnod entered the seminary of St. Sulpice, and he was trained as a priest, and in 1811, he was ordained as a Sulpician priest, meaning he was a local priest in the diocese of Aix-en-Provence. But at the heart of St. Eugene de Masnod, he felt the urge to reach out to the poor of his time. And so in 1816, he called a group of other Sulpician priests to form a group that would be a group of missionary priests within Aix-en-Provence. And so Eugene, his missionary call begins from there when he begins to move from parish to parish, preaching missions, but especially in places where the gospel was least proclaimed. In his description of such situations, he says his aim was to reach out to those structures which are least touched by the church. But Eugene de Masnod wasn't satisfied only working within Aix-en-Provence. He felt he needed to go out anywhere where there was need for the gospel of Christ to be proclaimed to the poor. And so from 1816 up until 1826, Eugene fought so hard to bring around him priests who were like-minded like him to be missionaries, to work in places where they were needed. And so in 1826, Eugene presented the constitution and rules of this small missionary group that he had presented to Pope Leo XII. And so in 1826, the Congregation of the Missionary Oblates of Mary Immaculate was formally founded and approved with its constitution and rules. And so next year, in 2026, our congregation will be celebrating 200th anniversary of the approval of the constitution and rules. Now, what is this group all about? Our congregation is a congregation that dedicates its mission work to the poor, and that is why our motto is, "The Lord has sent me to preach the gospel to the poor, and the poor have the gospel preached to them." Brothers and priests who are part of this congregation profess the three evangelical counsels. Added to that, they also vow perseverance. And for anyone who would want to join, it is required that you have zeal to serve the poor with their many faces. It is a congregation that is found in almost all the continents. And at this time, we are a group that has more than 4,000 brothers and priests working in different parts of the continent. It was in 1842 when Eugene sent his first missionaries to work in Canada. and the second group was sent to Cyclone, which is now called Sri Lanka. In 1852, St. Eugene de Mazenod felt the sense to send missionaries to Africa. And so it was in 1852 when St. Eugene de Mazenod sent a group of 4 to the southern part of Africa. And they were first settled in South Africa. They ministered there for a couple of years, and unfortunately, it was unsuccessful, as Blessed Joseph Gerard recorded that in his almost 10 years of ministry in South Africa, he had not converted a single soul. And so the following year, they set off for Lesotho, where after having settled, they carried on with the mission work among the Basotho people, and it was there that the congregation flourished and later on extended back to South Africa, Zambia, and these other parts of the southern region. In Zambia, the missionary Oblates of Mary Immaculate came to Zambia in 1984, and they were first settled in Lukulu. They took up the mission of Santa Maria Parish in January of 1984. From there, the congregation in Zambia has expanded to the different parts of the country. Soon after they settled in Lukulu, they moved to St. Michael's Parish in Nalionwa of Kalabo District, and later on established themselves through media ministry in Mongo by establishing Oblate Radio City. Later on, they took up missions and parishes. They took up Shangombo up to now, established parish in Lusaka, Mary Immaculate Parish. And from there, we have kept on receiving invitations from bishops, which have seen the congregation within Zambia grow to the southern part of Zambia in the Diocese of Livingstone, later on in the Diocese of Monze, the Diocese of Kabwe, the Archdiocese of Kasama. And so we keep on expanding and growing, wishing that we live the mission, vision, and dream of St. Eugene de Mazenod. For any young man who feel called to join the congregation of the Missionary Oblates of Mary Immaculate, you are most welcome to descend with us. We begin first of all with a stage called Come and See. After having lived with us, seeing what we are about, living what we live, and then thereafter you're free to apply to join us. And upon joining us, you'll begin with a year, which is a year of preparation for you to begin with your philosophical studies. Thereafter, after your philosophical studies, at a stage called the pre-novitiate, one is then recommended to make the next step to enter the novitiate, where at the end of your novitiate, after thorough examination and prayer, one decides if they want really to be part of this congregation. And it all ends with the profession of vows. After vows, then one proceeds to study theology in different parts of the world. And upon the completion of the first 3 years of theology, one gets an opportunity to live in a community and experience and live among professed oblates that are ministering to the people. And thereafter, one proceeds to prepare himself for final vows. So the whole process takes about a minimum of 10 years for one to have completed the formation studies and be ordained as a deacon for those that would want to proceed to be ordained as priests. For those that would want to make their perpetual vows and work and minister among the people as finally professed brothers, the whole period takes about 8 years for one to profess their final vows and minister among the people in different fields. For anyone out there who feel called to the Oblate way of life to join our congregation in Zambia, the qualifications are that you must be a fully baptized Catholic, You must have completed your grade 12 with a minimum of 18 points, of course, with merits or credits in English, mathematics, and science. And those are the qualifications. And if you happen to meet the qualifications, feel free to apply through the vocations office. Contact our vocations director on 0979 01 24 67. Thank you.